So when did you enter the Formula One car market?
I entered it during the pandemic.
Okay.
So, you know, like the first came out in like 2020,
Hmm.
and I did the Tops Now 2020s, and it was Pierre Gasly was one of the first cars that I got when he won at Monza in 2020. One of my
Okay.
favorite cars.
All
And
right.
then I got on Clubhouse one day, and I was collecting Project 2020 cards prior to, because okay, so I'm a collector. I'm not a flipper. I'm
Okay.
not like anything like that. All my cards that I chose to collect, they were my own personal PC. I collect them either because I love the artist, because I love the baseball player at the time, the Project 2020,
Yep.
of course,
Yes.
or because I love Formula One. I love the sport. So I got on the Clubhouse to kind of see who else was collecting these cards, trying to figure out information on the whole trading aspect, because I mean, I really didn't know a whole lot about it. And then that's when I found like there were just like so many people that were into cryptocurrency, they were in trading cards, they were in investment, stocks, bonds, they were like into everything.
Hmm.
And those rooms in the beginning, they were very, very inviting, welcoming. You got a lot of information. You had people that you wouldn't be able to reach, like, you know, like FD. It was COVID. There was no way I was going to meet you,
That's
you
true.
know,
Mhm.
at the grocery store,
That's
because
right.
we had our mask, and we would have been like
Yeah,
ninjas.
that's when you have one person to the aisle and all that going
Right.
on.
So, you know, you were able to get a overwhelming plethora of information to then and Google in real time and look stuff up in real time. So I think that that contributed to it. It didn't help that there were people that were like trying to resell the Project 2020, especially after Ben Baller's number one. Who was it? Ichiro? I think it was Ichiro. I think that's how you
Okay.
say it.
Get
Yeah,
you. Okay.
Ichiro. Yeah,
Hmm.
like when his first card, because I listened to low key, I listened to the podcast before he even came out with the card, but I was like, why does he keep talking about this card? I think I called it a stupid card. I was like, what are you talking about, stupid card? But
Hmm.
then he started reporting back the ROIs that people were getting, actually reselling this card. So then that prompted me to actually look at the whole entire project. But then I fell in love with the players, of course. I also fell in love with the artists. I fell in love with, like, you know, Sophia Chang, F. Dot, Old Man Allen, you know, Don C. And they're they have their own personal style. Mr. Cartoon, Mr. Cartoon. I bought a lot of Mr. Cartoon's cards
Oh
only
yeah.
because I don't have a tattoo on my body. There's no way that I would ever have a tattoo. There's
Hmm.
no way that I would ever get Mr. Cartoon to do a tattoo.
Hmm.
So instead, I bought his Derek Cheater card. So I feel
And
like,
what's crazy is like when that Ichiro card came out, the print run on that was so low
yes, because
that
I think he
everything
only told I think Ben Baller only told the people listening to his podcast, which was still fairly new at that point. But he kept talking about it and talking about it. And I don't think that it really caught fire until, I guess, you know, like people started reselling his stuff.
and then when the Trout card came out, is when people really started like,
What, the
what's
Mike Trout card collab that he did?
yeah,
Man, that was fire. I got that too.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So with that, I started watching YouTube.
Okay.
I started finding like people who were in the hobby that talked about trading cards for a long time, and they were dissecting Project 2020, and they could not understand why it kind of went like the GameStop stock.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, that kind of piqued my interest. But then on top of that, that's around the same time where Formula One got, Tops got the endorsement for Formula One to do trading cards. So
Yes.
that was perfect for me, because there are 20 drivers on the grid, 10 teams. I love them all. I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. I'm Team LH all the way.
Hmm.
But each and every one of cars that I've collected this far, I can tell you a story about that driver and what and how that driver has like touched me as a person, whether it's a good or, you know, not so good.
So people may ask a question like, Tonya, why are you so excited about Formula One? How would you answer that?
I'm excited because it's the pinnacle of motorsport. It is the pinnacle of motorsport. I mean, it is a like a lot of people think and assume that when you get into a Formula One car, you get in the car, you drive the car, you get to the finish line. And it's so much more than that. It is such a geeky sport, and I am a geek. I do pride myself on being a geek, cute geek, but still a geek.
We're all geeks.
And it's a science experiment. Formula One is legit a science experiment. Okay. You got the driver, and if you ever saw like one of their steering wheels, it legit looks like, remember the old Sega game system?
It does.
But it like has like 50 million other buttons on it, right?
Yeah.
So, each and every time that they are like, whether they're going straight, starting, stopping, entering a curve, turn, chicane, coming in, out of chicane, they are constantly making adjustments to the car. They are engineers in themselves, and that's something that they have to be fearless, for one, because they're going over 200 miles an hour, like into a curve and coming out and trying to win a race and battling, racing wheel to wheel. I don't know, what other enjoyment, like maybe like fighter jets, they probably get that type of enjoyment
on that level of
Right. Yeah, like, Formula One is like, then you got, all the destinations that they go to, because I love to travel. So, it's like 1 minute, they're in England, next minute, they're in Japan, next minute they're in Texas or even Miami. So that whole aspect is what drew me to Formula One, the travel aspect, the driving aspect, the 7-time world champion. He is a Black Knight aspect, by the way, of Sir Lewis Hamilton. Okay.
Yes.
And just like the I took my mom, quick story. I took my mom to her first Formula One race in Miami.
Okay.
And I was speaking with her today, and she was saying, like, I remember like what the rubber smelled like, because it was a brand new track. So every time the cars came zooming past us, flying past us, you can like smell like the rubber from the tires sticking to the track. And, just seeing those cars and hearing the sounds and the smells, that's what makes car racing. And not to mention the heroes that have been formed from becoming world champions too. I really like that aspect as well.
I kind of.
I want to also start with the wonderful people that are in Martha and I's watch along parties in a Clubhouse.
Yeah, I've been seeing your ads. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Martha and I started watch alongs in the F1 Club. And to date, we have over 50,000 members. And we have a wonderful team with us. We have Ben. He was the originator of the club. Martha and I are co-moderators of the club, but we are the number one for the watch party. So what Martha and I did, every Sunday, race day, we go in, we have people from all over the world. They come in and we all talk and converse all over, from all over the world about Formula One and what we love about Formula One, and also the race that's going on. And we also have like a few people that have come aboard recently that we do the qualifying sessions on Saturdays. And then we also have Ben. He comes on after we're finished with the watch along, and he does the race review. So even if you don't want to sit in the room with us for a couple hours, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, might I add, because if there's rain, we're still in that room. We don't leave.
Okay.
So with Ben, he does the whole race review, which is amazing.
So if someone is interested in your watch parties, how do they find them, join?
Oh man, you can follow the Apex Takeover on Instagram. You can follow F1 Club on Instagram. You can follow Shy Beautiful on the gram. And also, you know what? You don't even necessarily need to download Clubhouse onto your phone. You can actually listen to it on your computer, your PC.
There you go.
Yep.
Everybody out there, so you know.
Yep. Yeah.
So when you talk to people about the NFT market,
yeah,
what are some fears? Because when I talk to people, I hear people, they're in fear of what is this and where am I putting my money? What do people talk to you about?
Is this okay? All right, I compare it to this. Remember, like when we were younger, we used to go to the library and we used to have like the books. We used to smell. All right, they say it was glue, but that mess was mold. Okay, on those books, on the pages. I think it's the same thing with crypto. I think it's the same thing. Like, okay, we gave up our cash, right? Now we gave up our cash for plastic. Now you're
That's
asking us to give up our plastic for a token,
mm-hmm.
you know. And now you're talking about the whole banking industry that we've known for since the beginning of time. I mean, come on, look at Wells Fargo's freaking, icons, freaking stagecoach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To now you're talking about going to something that's decentralized. Like the person, like who came up with Bitcoin? What's his name? Yeah, you can come up with the name, but is that really him? Like nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trusting in this system that's decentralized that mimics the stock market, hence what we're going through now with the fall of Ethereum and Bitcoin and Dogecoin, if that's even still a coin anymore.
Yeah.
And you're asking people to blindly give something that they're not necessarily getting back, something that they can feel that's tangible. That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Yeah, the tangible piece is the
Yeah.
thing that just throws people haywire.
Right. But now, like, it's the utility of the NFTs. Like they use blockchain, which how NFTs are formed. They use blockchain even for like medical records now, you know.
It's true.
So when you look at it from like that aspect of the whole like security of it, you can kind of see how it works, but you still don't know, like who has my Bitcoin, who has my actual money. I think that's the fear of people. Even though I'm like, like really what's the difference? Because when you get money deposited into your account, like let's take Bank of America for example. You put the money in your account, man, they circulate that money about 1 billion times before it even gets put into your account.
Most people don't think about that or know that.
Nope.
They don't know how that bank is making money off your money.
Exactly. Before you get it. So I think that as as that market starts to regulate itself and it starts to become, the norm, I think that more people will start to want to look into it and invest in it. But no, I still know a lot of people who have cash in their mattress still.
That's right.
Yeah.
And inflation is decreasing the amount of cash that's under their mattress.
Yeah, and just what we've gone through these last couple years, which it's coming. I mean, I don't know how anyone would think that we would come out of a pretty catastrophic event that we all survived. And I just want to point that out that if you're here listening to this podcast right now, um, or listening to this YouTube interview right now, like you actually survived like just a major event that circulated all throughout the world. And that's something definitely to be commended. But we all knew there were going to be some sort of ramifications for going through COVID and printing money that we didn't have, and all that
Really
other.
flooding the market to keep
Yeah,
things afloat.
yeah,
To
yeah. Stimulating the market.
some of that flood into the hobby. The hobby benefited off of that a little bit.
Man, the hobby benefit off them stimmy packages. Come on, man.
Oh yeah.
Those PPP loans. Come on.